Hello and welcome to the Property News here on Magic Bricks, now India's first property channel. I'm Krishna Kumar. Let's take a look at the top stories that we're tracking. Kaveri protests bring Karnataka to a crippling halt as Chief Minister Siddaramaiah turns a blind eye. Pro-Kannada activists take to the streets, burn effigies, vandalize offices and hold major parts of the state to ransom. India's Silicon Valley, Bengaluru bears the brunt. Protesters run amok, force IT offices to shut down. Attacks on Mumbai's cops continue. This time, two elderly policemen mowed down by young motorists aged 20 and 17. This comes despite Chief Minister Fadnavis's promise on Thursday of setting up fast-track courts for trial in such cases. Comedian Kapil Sharma tweets serious corruption charges against Mumbai's civic body. The BMC faces counter-allegations as well. Times Network exclusive. Maharashtra's Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis chalks the road ahead for the state. Big push for transforming public transport and digital Mumbai. 164 projects, many by top developers, come under a cloud in Greater Noida as the authority threatens to cancel land allotted for these projects. The authority has charged these developers with defaulting on land payments. Straight to our debating focus, the Kaveri protests in Karnataka, which has escalated as pro-Kannada activists held the state to ransom. Normal life in Bengaluru and most parts of Karnataka have come to a grinding halt as protests continue across Karnataka. Agitators have taken to the roads of Bengaluru, brandishing flags, raising slogans and even burning effigies as they protest the Supreme Court's decision to release Kaveri water to Tamil Nadu. In the wake of these massive protests, Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has written to the Prime Minister himself seeking the central government's intervention. Now, there was widespread support for the statewide bandh called by pro-Karnataka groups against the release of Kaveri water. As per the Supreme Court order, my colleague Pooja Prasanna was at one such protest. Take a look at this report.
Growing anger against the state government in Bengaluru and several other parts of Karnataka, even as the bandh called by the Pro-Kannada organization is complete in the capital, with all commercial establishments completely closed, schools, colleges, all public offices, banks, petrol pumps, all of them have supported the bandh call. Public transportation has also been hit with buses, taxis, autos, everything being off roads from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. today. Attempts were made by several organizations to even storm into the airport, and also attempts were made to stop the metro rail that was plying in the city. But the state government, even as they try to assure the protesters that their interests are being taken care of, legally speaking, Karnataka has very little option but to release 15,000 cusecs of water as per the Supreme Court directive. The Chief Minister has said that with a heavy heart they will abide by the Supreme Court directive. But legally speaking, how did they plan to tackle this further is something that he's not given clarity on so far.
Now, the city of Bengaluru took a severe hit today as pro-Kannada activists held the IT capital to ransom. Offices were forced to be shut by protesters. Several instances of vandalism were also reported. Our correspondent Rahul Dayama gets us this report. Take a look.
Yes, Bengaluru has witnessed a complete shutdown as far as the IT companies and startups are concerned. A lot of the IT companies that we have spoke to tell us the likes of Infosys, Wipro, TCS have declared on holiday today. Remember, the Kaveri water is a very sensitive issue, and Bengaluru entirely depends on Kaveri water. So the companies took cognizance of the matter and did not want to really risk continuing operations today. So while Wipro will have tomorrow as a working day, Infosys will compensate by making one of the next weekends as a working day for its employees. A lot of startups that we've been talking to say that employees have been working from home, so business continuity plans have been put in place. Flipkart, Amazon have suspended not only their operations but also deliveries here in Bengaluru. Cab aggregators that we've been talking to tell us while operations continue, a lot of commuters have been complaining on social media that they're not able to book a cab clearly. So the driver partners are not locking in. We also had a few protesters who marched to Manyata Tech Park after they came to know that a few companies called their employees early morning to continue working. So they barged in there and the police personnel had to really come down and calm the situation. So while it's a complete shutdown here in Bengaluru as far as operations of IT companies and startups are concerned, they are putting in place business continuity plans to ensure that work is not impacted.
Now, even as Karnataka was held to ransom, Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has asked the central government to intervene. In a letter he wrote to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the Chief Minister has expressed his helplessness. We have Amita Balachandra getting us the details of that letter. Listen in.
Well, post several letters to the centre, this time Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has written to Prime Minister Narendra Modi seeking centre's attention to the ongoing issue here in Karnataka over the Kaveri water war. He has in fact asked Prime Minister to sort of convene a meeting with all the Chief Ministers at this point in time of South of India to resolve this issue at this point in time. Remember, Karnataka had complied with the Supreme Court order, thereby releasing 15,000 cusecs of water to Tamil Nadu. Its day 3 protests have been ongoing, and it's only gotten worse, especially in several cities like Mandya, Bengaluru and Mysuru, especially with the statewide Bandh on the 9th of September. Also, this comes post several other letters that has been already written to the centre. Remember, in the last letter, he had mentioned that drinking water is a severe. There's been a severe crisis in this drinking water, especially because the Kaveri basin does not have enough water in all of the reservoirs, KRS, Hemavati and Kabani dams. In fact, the storage as of 15th of August is very, very low, is what he had mentioned. And he's also mentioned that this unrest across the state will continue and only get worse if the centre does not intervene.
Now, let us take you to the nerve center of these protests, Mandya. Earlier in the day, our correspondent Paul was at Sanjay Circle in Mandya, where a huge gathering of protesters had converged. Take a look at what he found.
I'm presently at the Sanjay Circle in Mandya district, where several people, in fact thousands of people have come down. Members of farmers organizations, members of several other groups and organizations have come down to show their protest against the Supreme Court's decision to let out water from Karnataka to Tamil Nadu. In fact, I'm joined by members of the South Canara Association. Ma'am, can you tell us what the demands are?
Our demands are very clear, that we have been, it's always a biased judgment what we have been getting till now. So we want water for our needs, for our district needs. That's very clear. Our demands are very clear, that we want the required water. We are asking water for our crops, not for our crops. We are asking water for drinking purpose. But Tamil Nadu is asking for its third crop. So drinking water is more essential than for the third crop. So our demands are very clear.
In fact, what everyone who has landed up in Mandya is saying is that when Karnataka doesn't have enough water for its own drinking purposes, in fact, the water from Kaveri is used by Bengaluru, Mandya as well as Mysuru. They say when they don't have water for their own consumption and in fact for their own irrigation, then how can they afford to give water to Tamil Nadu?
Shifting focus away from our top story, time now to put the spotlight on our big campaign against the attacks on police in Maharashtra. Twin attacks on Mumbai police have been reported, and again the perpetrators are boys aged between 17 and 20. Now this comes a day after Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis tweeted out his support for the men in khaki and promised a number of measures for police welfare. In 2 separate incidents, young adults have mowed down elderly cops when they were stopped for not wearing helmets. Disha Shah, who has been tracking this disturbing trend of attacks, gets us more details in this report. Listen in.
It was just a day after when Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis tweeted out in support of the policemen and, intolerance of attacks that have been happening with the policemen for the past 2 weeks. And it was just a day later on Thursday, similar incidents, happened with 2 policemen in 2 separate areas across the city, Mumbai. One happened in Worli and another happened in Oshiwara. Talking about the Oshiwara incident first, when we spoke to, the senior police police inspector over there. They told at Oshiwara police station, they told us that a 20-year-old, boy, he was riding a bike without wearing a helmet, and it was then, the sub-inspector Krishna Mandavkar, he was there doing nakabandi, and that was when he spotted him and he tried to stop him, but that was when, the 20-year-old boy rammed over him, causing him severe head, leg and, hand injuries, and he was rushed to the nearest hospital. In fact, what we know so far is that the accused named Sadiq Sheikh was arrested immediately and he was in the custody. An FIR has been registered against him and he was released on bail on Friday morning. That's the latest that we are hearing. And in fact, senior officials also told us that, investigation is on and the charge sheet will be filed soon against him. And talking about the Worli incident, a 17-year-old, who is a juvenile, he was riding a bike without a helmet, and it was then that a senior sub-inspector, Deepak Nikanje, he was there at Worli Naka doing his duty, and that was when a 17-year-old rammed over him when he tried to stop him because he wasn't wearing a helmet. And when we spoke to senior police inspector at Worli police station, Vinay Kulkarni, he told us that it will be a non-bailable offence. Right now the 17-year-old accused is at the remand home where I am standing right now. Behind me you can see me, the juvenile remand home at Dongri, so where I'm standing right now. So he is presently based here, and in fact he also told us that sections like 333, which is voluntary causes grievous hurt to any person by a public servant, 279, which is rash driving, and 337, which is causing hurt by an act endangering life. So that these sections are booked against the juvenile. And what we also learn is that his parents are also booked under the Motor Vehicles Act because the bike was registered against the mother's name. So, of course, and the latest what we are picking up is that the juvenile will be produced, before the juvenile court at Dongri on Monday. So we, of course, will keep a very close eye on both the cases here at Magic Bricks now.
And as Disha just said, we are keeping a very close eye on this disturbing story. In fact, we're now being joined on the phone line by BJP leader Sunil Rane to take the story forward. He had on the urban debate on this channel assured us that no attacks against Maharashtra government will be tolerated by the state government. But despite all assurances, Mumbai woke up to more attacks. Mr. Rane, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here on the Property News and Magic Bricks. Now, I'm going to begin by asking you this. Despite the arrests in the previous cases, the attacks on policemen are continuing in the city of Mumbai. Tell us, how does the state government plan to stop this dangerous, disturbing trend?
First of all, I would like to thank your television that was taking very quickly about the incidences which have happened in Mumbai. There is no way that we are going to protect these hooligans. Means we would like to support the policemen, irrespective of whichever party in the government. We have to respect policemen. We have to abide the law and order situation in our country, especially in Mumbai. Mumbai is the one which reflects towards the entire situation of the country. And what I feel, this type of hooligans activities which are happening in Mumbai, attacking on the Mumbai police, I feel as a BJP government, as the Honorable CM has conveyed his messages in a very strong manner, that this type of incidences, we are going to protect our police and giving more and more power to the police for cracking down on.
I understand that the state government is clearly, the stance of the state government is clear, but tell us, is there no fear of the law anymore? Why is this growing in the first place? Disturbing, it's teens attacking the police.
Yeah, that's why it is disturbing in such a manner. That's why I said in the morning to your correspondent also, we would like to appeal to all the political parties. What happens is, many times you might have also seen, and we have also seen, anybody who has been stopped by the police at the signal, that particular any particular person might sometimes say that I am a political worker of this party. If you take my license, my somebody leader will give you a call and will transfer you. You might be going through these kind of incidences, which we also know. We said that all the political parties should support police to abide by the rules and regulations in our country, in Mumbai especially. And we should not try to protect this kind of hooligans activities which are happening in Mumbai city. Any attack on police, forget about condemning the attack. we would like to say to every citizen that please follow the rules and regulations. Whether he is a political leader or not, whether he is a normal citizen, everybody should try to follow. Otherwise, Mumbai city is going towards the ransack. And this type of people who are on the roads and trying to attack police or attacking the police, I would like to appeal to the government, and the government is coming up in a very heavily manner and trying to take actions against these people. That's why the MOCA recommendation.
All right, Mr. Rane, at this point, I was just going to ask you one simple question. Tell us, what can you promise as a representative of the ruling government? What actions will be taken to put an end to this? Any word from Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis as yet?
As I'm going to meet Honorable Chief Minister now, my scheduled meeting with him at 8 o'clock, as I have already told you on the television, which you people have given me so much responsibility to get the things through the government to be cleared. I would like to assure you, in coming days, even the police is gearing up, even the Ganesh festival is going on. As you know that there is a tremendous pressure on the police. Even though in that pressure, police is doing their duties, maybe 24 hours they are on the streets, they are handling the situation of Mumbai, but government is going to support the police to take action against these hooligans in a very stricter manner.
All right, Mr. Rane, we will let it go at that. Mr. Sunil Rane of the BJP, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here on the Property News on Magic Bricks Now. Away from that disturbing story and on to the serious charges of corruption against Mumbai civic body, the BMC. This comes from a funny man on the television screen, comedian Kapil Sharma, who has tweeted out how the BMC's officials have demanded that he pay a bribe of 5 lakh rupees to regularize a construction at his bungalow in Versova in Mumbai. His tweet had led to an immediate response from Maharashtra's Chief Minister, who assuring action in the case. However, now latest reports reveal that Kapil was issued a notice by the BMC in July over the illegal construction on the plot, following which portions of his bungalow were demolished. We have this particular report on that story. Take a look.
We are at the Mahara colony in Versova, where Kapil Sharma's office is located, which he is saying he had to pay a bribe for to the BMC and had tweeted to the PM. This is the bungalow that is in contention right now. You can see the demolition that has been done by the BMC. According to Kapil Sharma, the BMC had demanded a bribe of rupees 5 lakh to regularize the work that he had done on this bungalow. In return, the BMC has said that they had not demanded any bribe from him and that he had done unauthorized work on this bungalow. The unauthorized work involved extra construction that was done on the backside of this bungalow, which you can see in the visuals, and construction done of a second floor in this bungalow where it is not allowed. According to the BMC, the only a first floor is allowed in the bungalows that are there in this society, in the Mahara society in Versova. Kapil Sharma is standing fast by his claim that he was demanded a bribe from the BMC to regularize these extra construction work that was done by him. However, BMC is also refusing it. Right now you can see the demolition that was done by the BMC after complaints were received by social activists and residents of this area that Kapil Sharma has done extra construction work in this bungalow. The demolition was done by the BMC on 4th of August, and the second floor and the construction that was done on the backside of this bungalow was destroyed by the BMC. They are still sending their authorities to check if any more construction is being done by Kapil Sharma at this bungalow.
Now, after Kapil Sharma tweeted about BMC officials demanding a bribe from him, the BMC held a press conference. Manohar Pawar, chief of the Vigilance Department at the BMC, said that the corporation has taken the complaints seriously and will not bear such complaints in the future. Listen in.
Kapil Sharma, इनसे जो भी कंप्लेंट कॉरपोरेशन को आई है, वो कंप्लेंट के बारे में कॉरपोरेशन ने सीरियसली ले लिया है. बेसिकली कॉरपोरेशन ऐसा कोई करप्शन केसेस है तो किसी को ऐसा बेयर करेगी नहीं, करती नहीं. जिसने ब्राइब मांगा है उसका नाम श्री शर्मा ने देना जरूरी है, ऐसा हमने उनको रिक्वेस्ट भी किया है. वैसा लेटर भी आज हमने उनको दे दिया है, रिक्वेस्ट लेटर की. जरा नाम और डिटेल्स जरा दे देना. नाम और डिटेल आने के बाद जो भी रूल्स और रेगुलेशन के हिसाब से जो भी कार्रवाई करनी है वो कॉरपोरेशन कार्रवाई करेगी.
Moving away from Maharashtra and straight to the national capital region, where 164 projects, many from reputed builders in Greater Noida, do not own the land that they stand on. These builders, the Greater Noida Authority alleges, have defaulted on payments for the land they have already built on. In many cases, homes have been sold and handed over as well. Now, the authority is taking a stern view of the defaults and is threatening to cancel allotments if builders don't pay up. My colleague Deepa Rana gets us more details on this fresh crisis brewing in the Greater Noida market. Take a look.
Over 95 projects in Noida and Greater Noida region have come under a cloud. The reason that over 164 builders have defaulted on the dues against the land being allotted to them by the Greater Noida and Noida Authority. Now, the Greater Noida Authority has released a list of over 164 builders. Some of the top builders include Unitech, Supertech, Amrapali as well as ATS. Over 3,520 crores of the dues have been pending against various builders in the Noida and Greater Noida region. The Greater Noida Authority has given them time to pay at least 25% of the payment of the dues by end of September, failing which the builders are going to face action. That is, they'll have to pay the interest as well as pay the interest or face cancellation of their property. Now, we spoke to the Greater Noida Authority as well, and they told us that 25% of payment has to be done. The authority is also ready to reschedule the payment plan for various builders. However, the builders are claiming that it is because of the farmers' protest that they were unable to pay their dues in time, and also some of the builders are also claiming that the Noida Authority as well as Greater Noida Authority are now asking for 62% of increased compensation which the developers are supposed to give to farmers, and they feel that this is too much of an amount that the authorities are now leaving on the developers. We also spoke to the home buyers who are now worried that if these defaulters are unable to meet the deadline, in that case it is going to trickle down to the home buyers and they are going to be the end sufferers.
Now, Deepa also caught up with Deepak Agrawal, CEO of Greater Noida Industrial Development Authority. Listen to what he had to say.
There is a provision in the authority that if there is a developer or any allottee defaults his installment for 3 times, then he is considered as a defaulter. But considering the present scenario, there is a reschedulement policy in vogue, in which if the allottee deposits 25% of the outstanding amount, so that is default can be rescheduled in his future installments. So that the deadline is expiring this September end, and we have held a meeting with all the defaulters recently, and around 57 applications we have already received since then, whereby they have said that they will get their default amount rescheduled, and so that the project can carry on. The intention of the authority is not to harass or harm anyone. The intention of the authority is to keep in mind the interest of all the stakeholders, that is the authority, mainly the buyers and the developers.
In fact, we're now being joined by Geetambar Anand, President, CREDAI National, on the phone line for a better perspective. Mr. Anand, thank you so much for taking time out. Tell us, the GNIDA has released the list of defaulters. 95% of the projects are under the cloud. What action are you taking as CREDAI President?
Oh, you see, as you just heard the CEO of Greater Noida say, this is an opportunity to actually come out of this crisis. Because please don't forget that Greater Noida has seen its shares of, land issues and, slowdown in the market, sales not happening. So therefore, there has been a problem as far as cash flows go for developers. This is not an NPA issue. Please understand that. And the authority is working hand in hand with the developers to actually, it's like restructuring a debt. So now this opportunity is it's a blessing, because everybody can now really restructure the debt and or the payment which is due to the authority, and pay whatever they're asking for, and then get it into a regular stream. The larger issue is, you see, which we are facing, is that the customers eventually have to be burdened with the additional compensation which is to be given to the farmers, and we empathize with the government, because you see over here the land issues are a big problem. But in some cases where already possessions have been given, Now, levying that extra charge to be given as compensation to the farmers is a challenge because the customers will not be paying because they're already staying in those houses. So now that is what we are asking the authority to come out with a solution for, because now this is important. They need the money to pay the farmers. Now, in cases where possessions have already been given 10 years ago, you cannot levy that extra charge to the customer. It's a very sticky situation. But having said that, let me say that it is not a negative news that you hear. It is something positive which has been done by the authority to overcome this situation and to move forward, in a very proactive manner with the industry.
All right, Mr. Gitambar Anand, President of Kadai National, thank you so much for joining us here on the Property News and giving us that perspective on what this crisis is all about. Moving on to Times Network Hitachi Social Innovation Forum, where in attendance were several top Hitachi CEOs among top politicians and entrepreneurs from India. And ET Now's executive editor Sandeep Gurumurthy had a one-on-one with Maharashtra's Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, who shared his vision for the state. Take a look.
How do we solve this problem of public transportation, not just in Mumbai, but in the state of Maharashtra?
I think yes, and Mumbai is most critical. I think we have started many initiatives into increasing the public transportation systems. So on one hand, as rightly mentioned by the ambassador of Japan, they are collaborating with us, they are helping us. So we are creating a huge network of metro rail. The Metro 3, which is 30 kilometers, already we have given work orders. For Mumbai, a plan was rolled to create 160 kilometers of metro rail network.
And with that, it's a wrap here on this edition of the Property News and Magic Bricks Now. Thank you so much for watching. This is Krishna Kumar signing off.
You can watch live TV on our website mpnow.in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/magicbricksnow. And don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at Magic Bricks Now. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/magicbricksnow.